Okay, this next video we're going to look at something called assignment. Now, if you did the previous unit on logo programming, you would have created a variable, okay? Now, a variable is a method used to store a bit of information, and that could be a number, that could be some text, which you might call a string, or it could be a true or false value, or it could be a decimal point number, which we might call a real number. Okay. In Scratch, we can do pretty much the same thing, and we will create variables in this lesson. Okay, so I'm just going to close this section. The first thing I need to do is load up from my previous lesson. Okay, so load from the computer. I've got it here on my desktop. You may have it on somewhere else on your computer or on a USB pen drive. So I click Scratch Project, choose. Okay, so now it's loaded up. You can see I've got my two sub-programs with comments on it. And what these do is, if I press play, it makes the cat sort of skip across the screen and then go back to the side again and does that automated forever. Okay, so we're going to look at variables, and what we want to do is put a variable, maybe not on the cat here, but we'll put it on the stage. Okay, so I've clicked on the stage, and you can see now all my scripts that were, all my algorithms or scripts that were for Bob have just disappeared. But if I click back on Bob down here, they come back. Okay, I can see them here. So on my stage, I haven't got a stage or a backdrop, but what we're going to do is put some scripts on this, some code. Okay. Now the first thing we'll do is look at a variable. Now, what would you want to do in a game? Well, the chances are in a game you might want to have something like a timer, or you might want to have some sort of point system where you can get points, or say a scoreboard or something like that. So we're going to do a timer here. Now you can see that it says here we've got my variable. So this one already exists, but you've got this option to make a variable. So we'll just click on that, and I'm going to call this one time, and OK that. And there it is. It's just appeared underneath and it's ticked. Now you can see when it's got this tick box, that means it appears on my screen where the game is. And I can double click and it just becomes a 0 like this. Double click again and I get this with a little kind of bar that I can pull up and down. Or double click again and I get it just with the name of my variable and what's in that variable. Okay, so this name, you could say that this is an identifier. Okay, that's usually the name that we would call this the identifier, which is the name of the variable. And if I take this tick off, you can see it makes it disappear. So we can have variables that we can use, but we don't have to have them on the screen, showing them on the screen. But we do want this one here. Okay, and you can actually move it wherever you want. So you can put it over here, or you can leave it over here. So it doesn't really matter where it is, as long as it's somewhere on your screen. Now we'll do the first thing we want to do is maybe initialize this variable so that when you press the flag, it starts off at a certain number. So we'll probably do a countdown, as you might have that in a countdown. We'll do from 60 seconds down to 0. So if I go to event and pick when flag is clicked, then I'm going to go to my variable and I'm going to say set variable to set time to 60. And then it could be that your variable is invisible, so we're going to say show variable time. Okay, so if I press play now, you'll see it's at 0 at the minute. If I press the flag or play, it's gone to 60. Okay, now that will happen every time, no matter if it's a different number. It'll always go back to 60 and it will appear on my screen. So I'm going to just add a comment to that. I'll do the hash symbol for these, and I'll say resets the time to 60 at the beginning of the game. Okay, so just a little comment saying what that does. All right, so you can just sort of move that out of the way. And now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to actually make it work as the time. So we've got this option here, change time by 1. Now we'd probably want to change it by -1. So I put -1, and if I click on that, you can see it's changing my variable. If I press play, it's reset to 60. Okay, so that works, right? So that goes down, counts down. Okay, so we'll go back to events and we'll take another when flag is clicked. And we also want to do some sort of iteration again. Now we could just do a forever, a forever and an if, like we did before with Bob. You can see we've got a forever if, and that worked fine. But here we might do it a little bit differently, okay? And we can do this this is a conditional loop. As you can see, it says repeat until. So we can change and do this one instead. So we'll say repeat until something happens. So repeat what? Repeat all of this. Okay, so we'll do that, and we will then take wait 1 second. We'll stick that in front because we want it to actually count down every second. Okay, and we then need to go to operators, which is this green section. Now on your operators you can see you've got plus, minus, multiply, divide, random to do random numbers, greater than, less than, and equal to, and then another operator is and, or, and not, and then you've got a few other different ones which we might come to in the future. Okay, so the one we actually need is the equal to, this one. I'm going to drop that in there, repeat until, clip it on. Okay, so we've got this blank space. Now that would be the actual time, but we don't want to put in, say, a number, like at the minute it's 62. We don't want to put that. We actually want to put the variable name, okay, the identifier. And we want to say repeat until time is equal to something. So here we've got time. I can just grab it and drop it in there. Okay, so that looks like my algorithm's pretty much complete. And this repeat until, this is a condition. We call this a condition. So that would mean that this is a conditional loop, that this loop keeps on happening until this is not true. Or sorry, until this is true, right? So we're going to test it. Now, you would probably do it until 0, but we're going to just do it till 55, just for the test. So we will press play. It's gone 60, 59, 58, and 55, and it's stopped there, so it works, right? Now that you know it works, we can just then change that to 0. So this would do a countdown until 0. Now, of course, after this is finished, when it gets to 0, we could have another bit of code after that, and then that would maybe get the game to stop in some way. Okay, so right-click, add comment, and put the hash symbol, and we'll just say timer counts down from 60 to 0. Okay, and that's it. That's everything for that second algorithm that we've got here. So one algorithm that just initializes our time, sets it to 60 at the beginning, makes it so that it's visible, and then this one, which will conditional loop with our variable time, and if the time is equal to 0, then it'll stop doing these 2 lines of code.